been hearing recently that winter's over and it's going to be a torching heat around Christmas. Well, that's just not true. I think we go up and down a lot over the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be a really interesting pattern to watch. We definitely break out of this cold northwest flow, but I think what that also does is it activates the jet stream again and gets some bigger snowstorms to move across parts of the area. So, upper Midwest, I definitely think winter's not over. We'll start looking at the GFS here on Tuesday, the 16th. You see it's pretty mild. We'll just run this out pretty quickly here, and you really get to see all the up and downs over the next couple weeks. But I think it'll be really interesting to watch, and we'll just have to see where these systems form. So, system moves off to our north. Behind it, a little bit cooler air moves in briefly, but very briefly. It's out ahead of the next system, starts to warm back up again. Now we're into Thursday. The system, pretty on the fence right now. It's seeing some heavy snow across parts of central and northern Wisconsin, rain in the southern part of the state. We'll see. After that, more cold air. Pretty much what's constant is when these systems move through, they bring in colder air on the backside, and there's a lot of very cold air locked up into Canada. So we might get, a day or two here and there where it gets above freezing, but it's not going to be long-lived, especially the further north you are. I think it sounds dumb, but this is one of those years, or at least over the next few weeks, where being further north will mean it's colder. I think some years it's not always the case. In Wisconsin, for example, sometimes the southern part of the state can be colder than up north, but this year, the further north you go, it's definitely going to be amplified. Now as we move into Friday, that system moves out and it gets cold, at least colder or below freezing again. And we stay relatively dry for a couple days into next weekend, but here's another system, some warm air on the front side, cold air on the back side. Pretty consistent here. But you see it's starting to get more active. Sunday the 21st, high pressure builds over. That looks like a pretty cold setup to me. Now as we get closer to Christmas, Tuesday the 23rd, potentially some snow in the northern part of the state, some warmer air starts to build back in. But look at this, now we're moving into Christmas Eve, we're getting some light snow across the state, maybe Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, potential for some snow. So definitely not looking at warm and sunny like some of the stuff I've been seeing. I think it's all clickbait. Winter's definitely not over. You knew we weren't going to stay into this really cold pattern forever, obviously, but I think it gets really interesting here, and this is super far out now, over 10 days, so take everything with a grain of salt, but I don't know. It seems to stay relatively cold, maybe more active. Now we're looking after Christmas, maybe some more shots of snow. A big system moving into the northeast. I doubt that happens. But, here on the 28th, 29th, this is a real cold setup across the Midwest. So, yeah, definitely, while we might get a day or two where it gets a little warmer this week, we still have a lot of winter left, and I think it's actually really just getting started.